3. True April Fool's Day Horror Street, Ori's Animated. It started with a dare, a bucket of popcorn, and the sound of rain tapping against the cafeteria windows of Elwood High. Everyone was buzzing about the legend of the Crimson Jester, a ghostly clown, said to haunt the tunnel beneath the old railway bridge just outside town. I rolled my eyes, but deep down, something about the name gave me chills. Natalie, my best friend since 6th grade, was the one who brought it up. Her voice was playful, but I saw her glance at the windows like she expected something to stare back. Miles, her boyfriend, laughed and nudged me. We were supposed to meet up later to prank Mrs. Bellamy with plastic spiders. Instead, we found ourselves standing in front of the tunnel just past midnight. I recorded everything on my phone. The air was still. The tunnel looked shallow, moss curling around the edges like fingers. There was no sign of the jester, just empty darkness and a distant owl. We stepped inside, our flashlights weak against the thick air. Natalie's voice echoed as she whispered the legend again. The jester wears red hair, thick brows, and has pale skin that glows under the moon. His eyes are deep violet, almost bruised, and he only comes out on the 1st of April to collect laughter or fear. At first, it felt silly. We laughed, posed for pictures, made creepy jokes. But then my light flickered. When it came back, Natalie was staring at something behind me. Miles froze. I turned, but saw nothing, just the empty tunnel. Then faintly, I heard a chuckle, not one of ours. A deep, dragging laugh, too slow to be real. We ran, breathless. We reached the edge of the tunnel. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a notification. One new photo saved. I hadn't taken one. I opened the gallery. There, in the corner of a selfie we took inside the tunnel, stood a tall figure with white skin, red hair, and violet eyes, smiling. The jester doesn't follow you home. He waits until the next April Fools, when you're alone, when you laugh again, and he listens. The photo never left my mind. I deleted it, but sometimes, when my phone glitched, it would flash back for a split second. The pale face, violet eyes, red hair like fire melting through shadows. Miles told me it was a trick of the light. Natalie stopped talking about it entirely. For a while, I believed maybe we imagined it. Until the laughter came back. It was the last Friday in March, exactly 1 year later. Rain again, soft and cold, hitting the windows like tiny fingers. In the cafeteria, someone brought up the tunnel. Not Natalie, not me. A freshman said her older sister heard footsteps in the woods near the bridge, that a friend of hers went missing last April. I caught Natalie's eye. She didn't say anything, just packed up and left early. That night, I got a text from her. "Don't laugh this week, just in case." I didn't reply. Miles decided to throw a party the next night. Said it'd be small, just a few of us at his uncle's cabin in the woods outside Elwood. No pranks, no tunnels, no jester talk. Natalie refused to go. I went anyway. Lucas and Amber showed up around 10. Amber was wearing her old varsity hoodie, hair tied back, makeup slightly smudged like she'd been crying. Lucas said nothing the whole ride. The cabin sat deep in the trees. No neighbors, no lights nearby. Just us, the trees, and the steady sound of dripping from the tin roof. Inside, we played old horror movies, made popcorn. Miles kept trying to lighten the mood. No one really laughed. I kept checking the windows. I thought I saw movement once, just past the tree line. Red, but maybe it was a taillight. Maybe. Amber pulled me aside in the hallway. She asked if I remembered the maze last year. I nodded. She leaned close and whispered, "Sometimes I see him, not in mirrors, in my reflection, like in glass doors, in the car window. But he's not doing what I'm doing, he just watches." Before I could answer, all the lights in the cabin cut out. Silence. Then footsteps. Above us. On the roof. Miles lit a candle and tried to joke, but no one laughed. Not even a smile. Lucas checked outside. Nothing. Just trees and fog. The power came back 10 minutes later. The television was still playing. but the screen was blank, just static. I reached for my phone. The battery, which had been at 70%, was dead. Lucas decided to leave. Amber followed him. I wanted to go too, but Miles convinced me to stay, said I could crash in the spare room, that he'd locked the doors. He poured 2 glasses of soda. I didn't drink mine. I didn't want to smile. I didn't want to laugh. I went to the guest room and shut the door. Somewhere after midnight, I woke up to a sound. Laughter. Not loud, but too close. Not from outside, from the corner of the room. I sat up. The room was empty. No wind. No trees brushing the walls. Just that steady, heavy chuckle, like someone trying to hold it in. I turned on the lamp. The bulb flickered once, then steadied. Nothing there. Until I looked in the mirror. He stood behind me. Not in the room, just a reflection. Tall, thin, his red hair wild and matted, thick brows arched like they were carved from wax, violet eyes locked on mine. His mouth didn't move, but I heard him. "You laughed last year." I didn't scream. I couldn't. My voice was gone, my chest heavy. I grabbed my phone, but it was still dead. The mirror cracked, thin spiderweb lines spreading from the center where his face had been. When I blinked, he was gone. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. At sunrise, I walked back into the living room. Miles was on the couch, eyes open, not blinking. His soda glass spilled. The television playing an old comedy show from the 60s. Laugh track echoing through the silence. I turned it off. He didn't remember anything. Said he felt tired, said he didn't dream. But later that day, when we passed a window on the way out of the cabin, I saw it again, just for a second. Not my reflection, his. I asked Natalie if she heard anything strange. She told me her bedroom window fogged up every night now, always in the same place, a perfect handprint, not hers. The 1st of April came and went. No one laughed. But now we know he doesn't need April anymore. That was just the beginning. He waits for a sound, a slip, a giggle in the dark. The screen turned just the wrong way. He doesn't chase, he lingers. And if you hear the laugh again, you're already too late. Next year, we won't be here. Not in Elwood. Not near mirrors. Not near tunnels. But the Crimson Jester remembers faces. And he's always waiting for a reason to smile. A year passed. Natalie moved to Savannah for college. Miles transferred a few towns over. I stayed back, took night classes, worked at the movie theater downtown, thought maybe distance would help. Thought wrong. April was coming again, and I could feel it. Not in my bones or dreams. In moments. In silence that lasted too long. In laughter that came from nowhere and stopped too fast. Natalie called me one night. Her voice was quiet, flat, like she hadn't slept. She'd rented a small studio apartment near the river. Said she liked the view, but the windows never opened. She told me about the neighbor across the hall, a woman named Clarice, who always covered her mirrors with thick red cloth. When Natalie asked her why, Clarice said she used to see her dead sister in them, but only during April. I drove down the next day. The air in Savannah was warmer than Elwood, but heavier too, like it carried something. Natalie didn't look like herself. She kept glancing behind her, even inside her own apartment. There were no mirrors, none in the bathroom, none on the walls. I asked her about it. She didn't answer, just said, "He found a way in, again." We stayed up late watching old cartoons, not laughing, not speaking. At 2 a.m. her phone buzzed, one notification, one new video saved, but she hadn't filmed anything. It was black at first, then a slow fade, a corner of her bedroom, a faint red glow, and a shape. Not moving, just standing, watching, the same eyes, the same smile. He was back. Natalie screamed and dropped the phone. The lights went out. I grabbed her hand. We ran outside, down the stairs, into the street. A red light flickered from her window, then it stopped. We didn't go back in. Instead, we found a cheap motel on the edge of town. Old, run down. No Wi-Fi, no cameras, no smart devices, just keys and light switches. For a while, it felt safe. We fell asleep just after dawn. At noon, I woke to tapping on the motel window. Not loud, consistent. I got up and looked through the curtain. Nothing, just the parking lot. But when I turned back, Natalie was gone. Her shoes were still by the bed, her bag untouched. But the bathroom door was cracked open. I stepped closer, called her name. No answer. I pushed the door. The mirror above the sink was uncovered, fogged. My breath caught. There, just behind my reflection, stood the jester, closer than ever. His face leaned in, as if pressing through glass. I blinked. He vanished. The fog cleared. Then I saw Natalie's phone on the floor, its screen on. The last video paused at one frame. Him, sitting on the edge of the motel bed, one finger held to his lips. I ran. Outside, the world was normal. People walking, birds, sunlight. But I knew he could be anywhere now, not bound to tunnels or mirrors. He'd stretched past them, into memory, into silence, into laughter not yet made. I called Miles. He didn't answer. That night, I checked into another place, a roadside inn on the border between Georgia and Florida. No technology, just a room key and a switchblade lamp. At midnight, I dreamed of the red room. Natalie sat inside it, still, quiet, her eyes wide but unblinking. Behind her, the jester paced slowly, humming a tune I couldn't place. The walls bled light. His voice came next. Not loud, just a whisper. We don't need April anymore. I woke up in a sweat. My phone, turned off, buzzed once. I didn't touch it. The next morning, the news said a girl was reported missing in Savannah. No signs of forced entry, just a room with one cracked mirror and a fogged window. No prints, no DNA. Just laughter recorded faintly in the background of a neighbor's security camera. When I listened to the audio, I knew it wasn't Natalie's laugh. It was his. I don't go near reflections now. I don't tell people the story anymore. Not because they won't believe me, because they might. Because when you say his name aloud, he listens harder. When you laugh after dark, you make space for him. The Crimson Jester is not a ghost. He's something else. Something that doesn't need to chase you. He just waits. In the stillness, in the flicker, behind your smile. And when you finally forget he's real, when you laugh again like nothing ever happened, that's when he returns. And you won't see the red until it's too late.